Well, let's start with what is it that you would love to look at today? Like, what's up for you? What's in your field, or what's in your face, even
Yeah.
that you're desiring help with? Or, and I always say this to people: it's like it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It
Right.
can be an area of your life that is actually going well, but you want it to be even better.
Yes.
So, we don't always have to start at that, like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
feeling like
Yeah.
this is a real problem
Let's
and I need
do it.
to
Perfect.
change. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so for those of you who are watching, Glenda and I had talked a couple weeks ago about doing this. And at that point in time, I was receiving the healing before even doing the thing. And it was on a different topic than now. And it was so strong and so powerful. It's already moved its way out, and so much more has developed. So I have a new topic, and it's very much in alignment with what you just said. And just so you guys know, the topic that it was I was really, yes, this is a perfect thing to share about, if that's all right with you, because the topic was around my dad. And my dad and I have been close since the get-go. I've got really fantastic parents. Of course, the normal things, everybody goes through stuff with their parents. But one of the things, my dad's always been single since he divorced my mom at like age 2 or 3. And we've been in a codependent relationship my entire life. And in my adult life, with my craft of being a practitioner and an energy worker and a coach and all of the things, it's like I've gripped really tight to him and been in that controlling mode very consciously, because it's easier for me to stay on top of that and to keep helping him through his stuff, even though he has very recidivistic patterns, like again and again and again. And he's a very smart dude. Like, I'm not smart just on accident. Like, he definitely, delivered a lot of what created my foundation for what I've launched from in life. But man, people and their patterns. And I was gripping so tightly because it felt easier for me to just keep on the same codependent patterning that I was in with him than to create a break, because that fallout felt like it was more than I could handle. And there was never a right time. And I love my dad. Like, I don't. So knowing that, and knowing that it needed to happen because it was showing up in other areas of my life, I just did the internal work. But it was coming up. My dad moved away from the town. He had moved to this town to live closer to us. It wasn't working out. He moved away. But in that, he created his own break in the most beautiful way. And it happened with such ease, where we were not doing the codependent thing anymore. But I was still I wasn't releasing the human emotional hurt and the long-term attachment as quickly as I'm used to. I'm used to, like, oh, here comes something, bubble it up, use my tools, move it out, I'm on to the next thing, like, fast. And this was like, just wasn't releasing, and I was still having the pain and discomfort and all the stuff. So Glenda and I had talked about that, and I was like, that's what I want to do the topic on. And we had talked enough about it, and I had felt it and worked on, like, been in the situation like that we're in right now, moving forward in the space-time continuum with Glenda. And it's like, it worked. Everything already came to a head. I've reconnected with my dad. He's coming up this weekend. Like, it's gone. And the reason why I'm being so long-winded about sharing that story is because it has everything to do with what I would like some help on right now.
Okay.
And I love how you said, it could be something great, because right now it is something so amazing. I want the fine tuning of it, and I want your eyes and your energy on what's going on. So within that understanding of the codependent thing, one other thing that's been presenting itself to me, I'm in a soul-aligned business with a whole bunch of people. I lead a team of amazing, powerful women. And one of the things people come to me for is my ability to see the big picture for them and then bring it into structure and strategy so that they can flow that divine feminine energy and create, prosperity from their passions. And within that, because of the energy I have developed myself and raised myself with based on my upbringing, there's been a current of not trusting people to make decisions for themselves. Because of, I just stepped into that role of taking on a lot of emotions from my parents and helping them to make decisions, and watching them say one thing, do another, keep repeating patterns, and it wasn't stable consistently. And again, they're such freaking wonderful parents. I hate talking like that because they're so amazing, but it's just how it was. So I developed this thing. And it's been showing up in my relationships, but with a slight different edge that I didn't recognize it until recently.
Yeah.
So that edge is that people come to me based on the energy I'm putting out. I've attracted some people, not all, they don't feel confident in themselves. They don't trust themselves to make good decisions. They see they keep making the wrong decisions. They get in bed or they start working with me, and then all of a sudden things change. They make really good decisions, but I have not learned to help them develop truly their capacity to be discerning. So it becomes codependent, and then it's like, well, they need me. I love that. The ego's like, yeah, you need me. That's how I feel valuable and worthy and all this stuff. But the ones that I'm really connected with, that are my soul tribe, in some way, shape, or form, it gets to a point where there's this fine balance and they push back a little. They're like, no, wait a minute. I'm feeling very disempowered. Like, stop telling me what to do. And then I'm like, but that's our contract. That's how you've taught me to treat you. And you can't make decisions without me. We've established that. Like, whoa, codependency all over the place.
Right.
So that's this next layer that came up this week with my team. And because I'm a shift junkie, I love looking at my stuff. I'm like, yay, super uncomfortable.
Yes.
Really uncomfortable, but so gratifying because I have the people and we're all so committed to each other that we can walk through, and I could be like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I see it. Let's heal. Let's move forward. So super amazing. So exciting. So much release happening everywhere. And the fine-tuning piece that I'm looking at, and that this is where I'm excited to hear your input and your take on it all, and the healing that gets to come through and all the stuff, is I feel like the balance in there is such like a razor blade. It's so sharp. Mm-hmm. And I'm really excited to hone the skill and build the muscle of identifying in between where I'm being strong and clear in my container as a leader and as delivering my gift of seeing the solutions and helping people craft their discernment, without that tipping point of now wait a minute, I feel like you're doing the thing that I've been working so long to help you not do, like, and trusting them to trust themselves when they haven't yet, or maybe they have yet learned to trust themselves, but there's that tipping point. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple of things. One question I have is, how much do you trust your own self in your decisions and what, the decisions that are right for you? So that kind of sense of like, yeah, I trust myself to make the decision that's right for me.
Yeah. It comes up a lot, and I really trust myself, actually. And that's what was so surprising to me when I'm analyzing this, because typically it would be, oh, because I don't trust myself, I don't trust other people. But when it comes down to it, and especially in this past year, because I've been blowing things up purposefully because I'm so clear about what I'm doing, it doesn't mean it's correct, but I trust myself and I stand in a strong space, even when everything is firing at me wrong, 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 wrong. And my external reality for more than a year, if I just wait long enough, it comes back around to let me know you're in alignment, and then I learned something. So I feel like I literally don't trust anybody more than myself, but I know what to do when I wobble. I know how to tap into other designs to give me some feedback so I can tap in, and I know my authority. So I feel like I do really trust myself, and that's perhaps why I've crafted an entire career around helping other people to do it, because I have that cord.
Yeah. And I'm assuming you've been teaching them how to do that for themselves and tapping into their own. Yeah. Okay. So
I'll say it because I don't know if it's relevant. When I am in practice with somebody and when they're paying me as a coach to teach them that, yep, there's no codependent issues. Okay. When I'm in business with somebody and they're not paying me because we're cohorts, but I've still put myself in that role, because I put myself in that role with everybody, and that's something I'm looking at. When to, when not to, that's when it gets sketchy. Yeah. Because I'm not actually teaching them. I'm just like, I'm doing my own thing, and I'll teach them their designs and everything, but it's not the focus point.
Right. Right. Okay. So what's coming to me is actually what is happening energetically in the group. So there's this way that, so let's just talk about you and I for a
Yes.
moment. So, you know, we obviously have our own energetics in our bodies, and then our energetic space. And I just call it your bubble. It's your aura, right? And you just think of it as this bubble around you. Now, I can be sitting here and being of assistance to you from a place of I'm wholly and completely in my bubble. You're wholly and completely in your bubble. And let's have the connection from that place. Or, and I was really good at this, and I still, still have my moments where I do this, where I literally go into, and it's not a conscious thing I was doing, go into their energetics. So it's like I enter their bubble and I'm in there with them, right? So it's like, which is a lose-lose, because what happens is, if I'm coming out of my bubble, then I am dispersing myself. I'm not fully in me. So number one, I lose. And number two, if I'm doing that with you, the minute that I'm in your space, that's the disempowering feeling of like, oh, because if I'm in your space, you're like, oh, she mustn't think I can do this on my own, right? And it's very, like, people aren't necessarily conscious of it. Some are, but it's this idea of serving, or are you trying to serve, or are you saving, right? And that's where the codependent piece comes in, right? So
yeah.
So saving is, I'm in there with you and let me like fix this for you, right? But serving is, I'm over here and you're there, and I see you as an all-powerful being that you are, and the all-powerful creator that you are. And I trust that you're in connection with your higher levels, and I'm in connection with mine. And we get to dance this way together, instead of let me come into there and like, your higher levels, your connection. You know what I mean? It's like that. And the thing is, it comes from such a good place, right? Wanting to help people, we do this with our kids, right? We do this with our partners. We do this like, and I think there's, when we're energetically sensitive and when we're used to having our energies out here versus inside of us, it's really easy to do. And it's like a default, and you just go into it. Right?
Oh, yeah, it's patterning. It's just...
Yeah, patterning. So from an energetic perspective, and this would be something to really play with within your group, is literally when you, before you even join, like if you're on a call or whatever it is going on, is to really like call all the bits of you home, call all your energies back into you. Really sort of, it's like, see yourself in your bubble with a definite edge to it, and having the intention that, yeah, I'm going to sit here in my sovereignty and allow them to sit there in their sovereignty, and we get to dance as equal playmates. That makes sense?
Okay, so can I just share, because it's so amazing how we go through life, and what are the words? The ego wants to say, like, I know all the tools, right? Like, we have the stuff, and it's so beautiful how we get to have these experiences that bring the people that do these deep remembrances, like that give us exactly what we need in the moment, so that it actually then clicks into place. Like, just knowing things is never really enough. So it was so neat to have you say that, because it clicked it all in. But because one of the things that happens is, when I've done that thing in the past, because it feels like it's so clear now, just now with what you said, it won't be happening much anymore. And I've already been doing it with my boys and my family and my mom and my dad, surprisingly. That first, not my team, not my, which is so not typically how it goes. But how I can feel the edge already. What shifts for me is that thing of wanting to save them when I jump into their bubble, and how it taps my energy out. It's like, oh no, here it comes. Like, and I've been just taking way too much responsibility, like I'm such a strong leader, and crap, like I do this whole thing like, oh my God, if it's not working for them, or if what I'm teaching them isn't working, and then it's all my responsibility. And then all the old programs are like, well, am I going to be blamed? And did I help them make the wrong decision because they're putting it all on my back? So it's like, no, they're not. Fucking jumping into their bubble. So I feel like that's going to be that thing that allows me to feel and make sure that I'm staying sovereign, and I'm help reflecting for them to stay sovereign as well, because I can also pick up on that with other people. If I'm starting to do that thing, or if I'm starting to feel something, just with that analogy and that feeling of the bubbles, I can also tune in and be like, hey, let's make sure that you're feeling strong and empowered, and not like I know how to do all that. Like that just clicked it all into place for the tangibility that I feel like I need as a generator to be able to the fine tuning. Okay, that was super powerful.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. It's, it's something I realized years and years ago now, that the way that I was loving people was enmeshed with this feeling of responsibility, right? So it's, my mentor, Jennifer Huff, she calls it carrying, and carrying is caring plus worry.
Oh,
So, right. So instead of just the pure caring, we attach the worrying to it.
Yeah.
And then we start to carry them. And literally, like you said, it's this drain, it's this load, it's this like, ugh, it just feels so heavy. And of course, your energy's not fully in you. So of course, you're going to feel depleted. And so when I had this realization, I was like, wow, the way my love for my eldest daughter was enmeshed with worry.
Yeah.
And the love for my youngest daughter was enmeshed with guilt, because I often feel like I give my eldest more attention because she feels a lot, and so just to be able to guide her, and so I definitely feel like sometimes that was happening. And then the love for my husband was enmeshed with this. This was a sneaky one. My need for him to need me.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Right. And again, and all of this is just based on, well, I want to be loved. I want to be accepted. I want to be cared for. And so if I'm not fixing, if I'm not like their go-to person for whenever anything's wrong, then they're still going to love me. And of course that comes from childhood, and just like believing that you need to be that way, right? In order to stay safe and loved. So once I recognized that, it was like, wow, okay. And so I was getting in their bubbles, and now it's a much, now we get to be in our own bubbles and really have this like heart to heart connection without the other stuff kind of being enmeshed with that. It's pure connection. So
I feel like you just spoke to so many people.
Well, a lot of us do it.
Yeah.
Moms, moms in general, right?
And wives and partners.
And yes, exactly. And husbands and dads. I mean, there's just this idea of like, what is a good dad, or what is a good mom, or what is a good husband, and what is a good wife, and all these, where the rules came from, I do not know. But it's like this idea of what that is. And at the end of the day, we're all responsible for ourselves and how we feel, and we have no control over how anyone else feels, So I think, what my shift from, because I started out that way as a mom, for sure, taking all that stuff, and my shift now is I really look at, my job is to obviously provide the necessities of life for them, such as food, shelter, and all of that, is to love them exactly the way they are, but also to uplift the essence of who they are, like really have like me see them as the all-powerful being that they are, and really be in support of their own knowing, versus my knowing is not their knowing. And so a lot of times it comes back to, if they come to me with a question right away, it's like, well, what do you feel about it? What do you feel is right for you? And then having a discussion versus me just like, here's what I think you should do. So that shifted a lot. And the minute that I start to profess my opinion or project it on them, it's like an immediate no.
Yeah.
It's like an immediate, oh
They're
yeah, that's
both manifestors, right?
pardon?
They're both
They
manifestors.
are. They are. They have manifesting. Well, I think one's a manifesting generator.
Oh, good. I'm like, how could they both be?
Or are they manifesting? No, sorry, they are both manifestors.
Yeah, and then your husband's a manifesting generator.
He's the manifesting generator.
Yeah, I was like, damn. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So they give you clear, like, you're doing the thing. Yeah.
You're not a manifester. Don't be putting yourself on me. Like, don't be informing me. It's really, yeah, it's fascinating with them. And I'll even get, Mom, you're trying to control me right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
They're like my biggest teachers right away. It's like, you know, inside I'm like, shit. And then
you're like, you're so right.
Damn it. You're right. So yeah, so that's like the, I was getting a lot coming through right now. When you think of this piece of getting into people's bubbles, does it show up in your body anywhere? Like, is it showing up?
Probably solar plexus. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm feeling it there too. So let's just put, you want to play? Let's play. Yes. Okay. So if you just close your eyes and put your attention on that space. Okay, because I'm really feeling some light language wants to come through. So as I'm speaking and you're hearing my words, just keep your attention there, your loving attention, and let's see what wants to come through. Se e faccioni e che le ce sono mine ece se ca ce se non fa salana mana che ce cho se fenimane ele po to ni fesinin ma ana e che se ce cho se fala a ca chasini ini ce ne nani ni ca ce se u le pepe fa fanana ca chasini no co cho se le ece a chasini nana ne che lo Momole pepe popolana ana ace ece le cuce fasana ana che chanona o se papala a cha zakatru ma akacha cha chani sische. And while you're just being present with that and the experience of it and the feeling of that in your body, it's up to you. You decide whether you want to ask what message that light language is bringing you or not, right? Because we don't have to go the level of the mind at all. So just see if anything comes.
Oh, yeah. Bring it on. What message is that? Because I can feel it, but my mind loves to be able to wrap itself around it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Is it coming through me or you?
What, the feeling?
No, the message.
Oh, the message coming through you. What does it say for you?
Interesting. Okay.
And there may not, it may not come right now. It may come later. Or it's not for you to know. Again, that's just, it gives our mind some peace, but there's not always
It's a design thing. So it typically doesn't come through me through the words. I'm excited for that to be able to come more freely, because it doesn't need to be like that,
Yeah.
But yeah, I can feel it all, and but there's nothing words.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, if you had words, I'm like, bring it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm just getting guidance like this is for to percolate in you. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And, it's not a question I ask a lot in terms of like, what does this mean for you? Because it's very experiential and I can feel it, right? Going on. Again, our mind wants to know. But the thing about light language is it's meant to bypass the
Right,
mind. It's not something
absolutely.
that we're meant to wrap our heads around or try to figure out, or it's to go direct into your heart, direct into your body, and have the activation there, right, and the shifting there. So for someone who has spent a lot of her life up in her head,
Yeah.
you know, hands, I'm just not feeling the pull to go, like, to go there very often in terms of like, okay, what does that mean? And you know, when it comes through, when I'm in circle, when I hold my circle, it's different for each woman.
Yeah.
It's like, right, it's what she needs in that moment, or desires in that moment, is what she gets from the experience.
Yep.
So, you know, my anything that comes through me is just is going to be filtered through my own stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how yeah, so I don't really go into too much, but more of like
Can I ask you a question? When
yeah.
you do it for the collective, because you channel for the collective, right?
Yeah.
Now, when information about that, do you translate? Because yes, it's coming through your filter, but it is for the collective. So I mean, does that feel different to you?
No, because it's more of an energetic that's being
Yeah. Yeah.
activated, and it's kind of like, how do you describe love?
Right.
Like, what are the words to use to describe love? And for me, I mean, it's an experience. And ultimately, that is what shifts things, right? Your energetic, your vibration, what's coming through you, and what you're emanating out, your bat signal, so to speak, right? And so, you know, when I'm in circle with a group, and we are doing an activation for the collective, it's very much it's just a felt, and all I can describe it is my experience of love is sort of what I feel.
Yeah.
And so it can have different ways that it comes through. It can be a very loving and compassionate love, or it can be a fierce love. It can be a very commanding, like, no to this, like no to what's going on, no to, so, you know, and it's still, I'm learning more and more about it. It's still this relationship that I'm having with it. But, and it's, you know, I don't take it lightly, let's put it that way. I don't, um, not making it like, ooh, really important because I do this. It's not that. It's more about just having the reverence for it, I think.
Absolutely. You're holding it sacred. I mean, it's so evident. Yeah, I'm so excited. I mean, and it was so neat because I've experienced it a lot, a lot. It actually, people come all the time. They're like, oh, I just started channeling language of light. LOL. I love that. At one point I helped a light worker publish a book. I did some editing for it and I got it published for her. And when I was, reviewing it, she would put in there LOL. And I had to talk to her. I'm like, honey, what you just said in this part, I'm going to take that out because it's not funny. That's the most inappropriate point to put laugh out loud. She's like, oh, I'm saying language of light. That's where I would do language of light. Oh, that puts a whole new spin on LOL, But it's interesting how much it's been coming through lately. I've experienced it a lot. And I really enjoy how it's so different with different people. Like yours, it coming through you with your voice, with this special intonation. It was like music to me and my energy. I was just like, I can't believe the tears didn't come more. I was just like,
Beautiful. Beautiful. And it's coming through people in language. These codes of light or codes of love that are, because there's these higher frequencies that are coming, right, or that are already here on planet Earth and are coming in even more. They're coming through you in different ways. It can be sounds, it can be words, it can be through art. I have a friend who does these beautiful, like literally channels and right? So her creation, it can be through preparing the food. You know, like there's just so many different ways that it comes through us, and one's not better than the other. They're just different, and we're all here as different vessels for that to come through in our own unique way, right?
Yeah, all
So,
pieces of this puzzle.
yep.
Yeah.
And everyone has their piece. And, you know, it really is this, like, and without one piece, you're left with an incomplete puzzle. So,
Right.
you know, I always say to people, look, you're here to be the gift that you are.
Right.
You're here to be fully you, not someone else, and not trying to be someone else, because that's not why you were put on this planet.
Right. And one of the things I'm feeling so deeply for a long time, and I think this is one of the pieces of my puzzle, because this is what I experienced, is I've been hearing that forever. Just do you. I did not know what it meant to just do me. And that had a lot to do with the foundational piece that I wheeled about the human design. Because then when I learned my design, then I knew exactly how to do me. And I knew how to do me. And that's one of the reasons why I trust myself so implicitly, because I know how to do me. But with my design, I needed to know, because I have different head centers than you, I needed to know how, so that I could stay within my bubble.
Yeah.
Now, other people do it completely differently. You have open head centers. You actually don't need to know how.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to think about it. That's actually incorrect for you. So it's just like, oh my gosh. So I tend to collect the people that need to know how to do exactly that, because just like you said, if we're not doing our own piece of the puzzle, and most of the time, like just with what you just now helped me with staying in my bubble, we're doing somebody else's piece of the puzzle and it gets effed up. And of course, we're all learning and everything, but like this feeling, if I could translate it, it's me clicking in with my unique energy signature into exactly where I'm supposed to be. And there's very few things that feel as satisfying. If I could label love, this feeling is what love is, because from this feeling, everything else is possible. Everything else happens from this feeling, and it happens with ease, and it happens relatively quickly most of the time. That's what this is. And it's just like my visual, my brain wrapping around it, my defined head centers wrapping around it to be like, oh, I'm clicked into my piece of the puzzle right now. Mm-hmm. So that's my, you knew it was going to come. I'm like, okay, it did come. That's the message that just came through from the transmission. And that's what it just did. You, with your words, teaching me, my mind, my defined centers, wrapping around it, and then you locking it all in through that transmission that clicked me into that space, my piece of the puzzle, which is that connection to the pure love. And from that, everything else gets to transpire. This is the seed of consciousness. So that's the message that you just brought through me, or that it wanted to come through.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm just like filled with chills right now.
I'm like, am I cold, or do I just have the God bumps?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I don't think I'm cold, but I just feel the chills coming through.
So much alignment. Yeah, you're amazing. I knew this was how this was going to be. I've just been like, so I can't wait. When it needed to be right now, it couldn't have been last week. Like it.
No, it couldn't. No, last week I was in a different space. There was a lot of resistance last week.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would have been wonderful and helpful, but I just love it when you get to tap into the synchronicity, and it's like makes me giggle. I'm like,
yeah, I know. It's like, of course that's delayed. And you know, that's kind of how I'm looking at everything these days. You know, if something gets delayed or something has changed, it's like, all right, that was not aligned.
Yeah, totally.
You know, it's so funny when you talk about I have the undefined head centers, and yet I've been operating in my life as if I do.
Right. And that's how it works. Yeah. The conditioning, that's exactly how it works for everybody until they know.
Which was so out of alignment for me, which is why it caused, like, I literally get headaches and like, you know, so yeah, it's, learning the design has absolutely been fascinating. And, you know, I've always said that I'm energetically sensitive, but then to see actually how many centers are open for me in my design, it's kind of like, okay, I see why I am that way. You know, I don't have very many. Was it 3 defined centers, I think?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, the rest are open.
And you know, it's one of like the things I talk about, and I'm not going to start it here, but maybe sometime you and I can do this, is kind of busting through the myth of the empath, It's not
Yes.
that we're not empathic, but a lot of people lean on it and misconstrue it. It's open centers, and that's where the gift is at. But because we don't know, or we don't see the plan, the map, the understanding of ourselves, we get wrapped up into what we've been told, like, oh, you're an empath. And then constructs, or not constructs, excuse me, concepts like the bubble, which was so helpful in the situation. Sometimes people, I've seen them say, well, no, I got to put myself in the bubble to protect myself. And I'm like, oh dear. Actually, let's learn how to filter your undefined centers and recondition yourself appropriately, deconditioning yourself where you're open, and then jump into your genius. That's what it's about. So it's like a different way of looking at being an empath, because we all are, but some people are far more. It's their design. It's so
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd also even put in there, you know, a lot of why someone becomes energetically sensitive, and it wasn't necessarily the case for me as much in this lifetime anyway, but is that, you know, depending on what happens in childhood, um, like if it's about staying safe for you, you're going to have all your receptors
Absolutely.
turned out looking for like what's coming down the pipe, and I need to be prepared. And
Oh,
so of course you're going to feel a lot, and it's understanding that, you know, you're the one that actually turned them out. It was an unconscious thing in the first place, but you can actually turn them back in,
absolutely. Yeah.
right? And instead of like being like what's coming out, like, let me feel me and let me come into me. And so and I hear, and there's this talk a lot about being a victim, right? Or this victim energy that comes with being an empath, like I'm being taken over and I need to protect myself, or I need to hide. But that's coming from fear. That's not coming from love, right? So it's understanding that you're a sovereign being and that you get to choose.
Yeah.
You get to choose whether you take on something or not. And it's all about, awareness and consciousness. But it's like, the more that you are in yourself, like the more that your energies are in you, the less room there is for anything else.
Totally.
Like fill yourself up with you
Right.
such that, and this is all a process, it's not like, yes, we're going to snap our fingers. And there are some cases, I mean, I do ask for protection every now and then, because I'm still on that journey. I'm not fully in me yet. So there's times where I just know that, oh yeah, those situations I take on a lot of energy, and I don't really want to. So let me ask for protection, and also let me be conscious of what I'm feeling and really go, is this even mine?
But
Which a
that's
lot of the time it's not,
completely empowered.
right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So it's from more of an empowered place, versus like, ooh, energies can overtake me. And I'm like, well, no, you get to
Right.
decide. You decide. You choose whether that happens or not.
And I love what you said too. It's like, this is a process, and it doesn't necessarily happen overnight. And
No.
I love, like, it's just so evident that we're relearning. We're relearning how to do this. We're relearning what we've been taught, and what's so important. And like, just to people who are watching, like, just pat yourself on the back right now, because you're here and you're still watching and you're receiving something from this. Like, you received the transmission too, and you're here, your ears attuned, like something's happening for you too. And it's so important, because you're doing it not just for yourself, but for the collective. And the more we learn to do us, the more we learn to sit in our puzzles, everything that Glenda's been talking about, like, that's you're actually, through your energy signature, also teaching through your own experience, your own vibratory quality, to everything else out there. And that's how we're unifying and moving forward. It's so important. And if you don't know how to do it's perfect. You're right in the, none of us do, until we learn. And we learn by other people giving us ideas on what's out there, what's possible, how to do the thing. And then we get to go inside and learn to do us by feeling, by thinking, by doing our designs. Like, it needs to be taught, in my opinion. And I used to think, when people would tell me it's all inside of you, I'm like, I don't get it. It's all here, but I needed ideas. I needed everybody else to have it all click into place. So it's big work. It's great work. And it always starts with us, which, yay. I'm happy about that. Let's just do me. Let's just work on this thing.
Well, and just doing you has such a ripple effect, right? So yes, it's for you, but you are absolutely having, when you shift your energetics, that tapped, has an effect on the collective as well. So it is one person at a time. And yeah, I mean, and one of the things about like, okay, well, who am I? Like, who is the truth of who I am, and how do I do me? What I've learned so far, a lot of it has been from not doing me, from not being me, from like, and seeing how that plays out and feeling the resistance in my body and feeling like, just, okay, that is not flowing. That is like hard, and it's, yeah, the resistance, right? So I think there's a lot to be learned from that. And of course, we look at these times in our lives, like I was in so much resistance last week. Yeah. And when you're in it, it sucks. Like it really feels like shit. And so, it's a way that, and then of course we look at that as a bad thing. Right. But what I see is just like, oh, what that was for, and how, what the things I was thinking and what I was doing that were so out of alignment with what I even believe to be true. Right. So
frame of reference.
It is. So everything is everything. Yeah. There's no good or bad. It's simply an isness, and it's how we choose to look at it. And those times where things are not good or we're not feeling great, they give us the clarity about what we don't want. Right.
They're just the breakdown right before the breakthrough.
Totally.
That's one of the biggest, I say biggest, and like I use all these exaggerating terms, but right now it's so clear for me. One of the muscles and the tools I've honed that I'm so grateful for in my process is knowing when I'm in the shit, I know I'm right next to a breakthrough, so I can sit in it. And I know to not try to do anything from that space, because when you're experiencing that, you are about to bust through. But if you act from that seat of consciousness, what's happening in the body is chemical production. It's literally hormones that are being produced from what you're clearing. And if you act from that space, you're going to create more of the same thing, and it's going to take longer to move to the breakthrough. So having that awareness, it's just about you're breaking through. You can sit with it, and you can go deviate the mind and go stay in the spaces that make you feel good, knowing that you get to deal with it from your aligned seat of consciousness in just about 2 seconds here. It's so powerful. I know I don't even know about our audience, but that space where we hear about the duality of you're in it and you're experiencing it, but you're witnessing yourself all at the same time. So this past week, just so in it, and I'm just like, the same time I'm like, this is so juicy. This is so exhilarating. It's so exciting. And it's such a weird dichotomy. I'm like, really? I can't believe I'm feeling that way. Somebody said it a really neat way the other day. It's like, I don't know if I'm going to vomit or have an orgasm. It's just like this huge, and just knowing and being able to witness that is amazing.
It is. And it's like, okay, well, who's doing the witnessing? Right? That's your true self. That's the truth of who you are, is watching all this play out of your ego self. Yeah. Or however you want to say it. But it's like, okay, but it's just such a strange experience to have the both, and to be feeling all that's going on, and then also to be able to have the awareness and witness it. Right. It's kind of like feeling grief and joy at the same time.
Right. Yep.
Right? The two, you think, well, how does that happen? But it's like, it just does. And you can't explain it. It's just.
I know. My dog is dying right now, and I'm grieving. Yeah. And I'm so like, I'm so happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so glad I have the tools so that my brain's not getting in the way going, ooh, that's wrong. Like it's so nice to be in that space where I can understand it so I can have that experience. It's so beautiful. That's the human experience, it's so incredible.
It is. Yeah. And the world would be a very different place if we all just stopped judging.
I know.
Feeling. And just let ourselves feel and let it move through us, and not make up a story about it, or make ourselves wrong in any way, or make the emotion wrong, or you know, all the things that we do as humans.
Yeah, I know, it's so wild.
That keep us stuck in it, you know? So yeah.
That's why we have each other, so that we can be
Right.
in those spaces and help retrain each other every step of the way. Because I know when I'm self-judging, I need somebody else to remind me what I'm doing, just describing, but also to remind me that it's not true.
Yes.
And to hold me in that, you know, like we need each other. So
Yes.
so cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing things. We could talk all day, couldn't we?
I know.
Thank you for that beautiful work. Oh my
Oh,
gosh, that
absolutely.
was
Thank you for playing.
unbelievable. I'm so grateful you're here and
So
that
fun.
people can connect with you and know where you're at and
Mm.
get to be on this journey with you. So,
Yeah. Thank you.
yeah,
Thanks,
thank you.
love.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you too.